lane. Wind is just creeping. Stop following. Stop the wind. Wind stop.
Women, don't start being that again. What's the time? 11:15. Let's Stop. Right, stop.
Thank you.
Right, dude, come with revolution, them Russians will kill us all. Line you up against the wall. Miss me coup card then as well when I put it on.
Yo. Okay.
When stop.
And we'll just pay it out until this waits.
Which after that?
rolling. When you've gone up the top, come back and concentrate just on the top of the nose. Just keep your eye on it.
And this is a good opportunity to clip up the signal cable spiral if not done earlier. The special clips and nylon spacers will be found in one of the parts kits shown at the beginning of this tape. Once again, remember that the Castell key must be removed before anyone enters the winch drum. The TCR is positioned in a similar manner to that when embarking the cable. Pass the heaving line to the jetty with the inboard end through the fair lead. Connect the heaving line to the array end cap and manually haul the array inboard, ensuring that the shot mats are properly placed to protect it as it passes over the edge of the jetty. When the array is at the fair lead, stop heaving and fit the array stopper. Locate the stopper in the fair lead guides. Connect the closing tool to the tow cable end connection, ensuring that it is properly secured. Remove the end cap clips and end caps from both the array and the bend restrictor. Keep these and any spare screws in a safe place for future use. Examine the joint handles and replace damaged. Apply a smear of silicone grease to the seals. Offer up the tow cable to the array and ensure that the closing tool arms are engaged in the recesses of the stopper. Operate the closing tool and fit the connector clips and set screws after coating the threads with lubricant. Use the 3mm Allen key to tighten the screws. Fill all recesses with Denso putty compound, forcing it well in with the fingers and smoothing it off, so as to produce a faired surface to minimize self-noise. Slowly haul on the winch until the weight of the array is taken up. Then release the stopper from the fair lead and remove it from the array. Well before the array reaches the reeling gear rollers, stop the winch and open the rollers to the array width. Extensive damage will result if the array is hauled to the reeling gear before the rollers are opened. There is no interlock fitted to prevent this happening. Move the clutch to the array position, which will engage the high-speed drive. Continue the transfer, with the maintainer noting the module serial numbers as they come inboard. Visually examine the array for damage and ensuring that all recesses are completely faired with Denso paste. When approximately 1.5 turns of rope tail remains on the TCR, stop the transfer and remove the tail from the TCR drum. Continue heaving on the winch until the rope is wrapped around the drum.
Now, a brief look at the various parts of the 2031 system, starting with the sonar winch. The ratings uncovering it give a good indication of its actual size. The winch is hydraulically powered and is a combined winch and storage drum. Fitted on the drum is the array, the towing cable and the rope tail. This is 30 metres in length and provides initial drag when launching the array. It also helps to improve stability. The towing cable which passes the signals from the array is known as the umbilical and is fitted with a plug which is seen here in the stowed position. Its towing position is fitted on the moving part of the winch, so obviously the winch must not be able to move when the umbilical is plugged into this position. This is the brake. It is mechanically operated and is usually applied when the winch is stopped to prevent further movement. As an extra safety precaution, an emergency stop is fitted. This lever is used to alter the position of the jaws that layer the array on and off the drum. The movable jaws are used to accommodate the towed array's changes in diameter. The winch movement is controlled from the winch hut. We will now watch the streaming of the array. The passive sonar team plus one maintainer are needed to carry out this task. In real time, streaming will take much longer than shown on this tape. As the streaming progresses, certain relevant details will be pointed out. As the rope tail comes off the drum, it is fed through the fairlead. The rope tail is brought back inboard and flaked down on the deck. The winch is stopped as the end of the rope tail leaves the drum. The 30 metres of rope is then cast overboard. This gives the array some drag and assists in streaming. The array is supported on its passage to the fairlead. As the array and rope tail flow behind the ship, they will float on the surface. The jaws have been set to wide to accommodate the width of the sensor. Once all the sensor has left the drum, the officer watch is informed that the array is on the surface. He will know the depth that the sensor is to be operated at and will give the required scope. The winch is stopped and the jaws are changed to the narrow setting to accommodate the width of the towing cable. And then the required amount of towing cable is fed off the drum. Once the array sinks, the officer watch is informed that the array is subsurface. The depth is set by the amount of towing cable and the ship's speed. The winch is stopped and the interlock key that is required to remove the connector from the stowed position can be taken from the winch driver's console. The umbilical can then be unlocked from the stowed position and connected to the towing position as seen here. These are the constraints on the ship's movement during towing. The command informs the passive sonar director to recover the array. The PSD then disconnects the umbilical from the towing position. He then replaces the weatherproof cap. The umbilical plug is prepared for inserting into the stowed position. Once in place and clipped home, it releases the interlock key, which can then be passed to the winch driver for inserting into the starting circuit on the winch driver's console. Once again, the jaws have been checked that they are set to narrow, ready for recovery. With the winch driver closed up and all the passive sonar team in attendance, recovery begins. As the sensor breaks the surface, the PSD informs the command, array on the surface. As the sensor approaches the drum, the winch is stopped and the jaws change to wide, prior to the sensor being layered onto the drum. The array is then layered on the drum as it is brought inboard. When all the array is recovered, the bridge is informed. The winch can be stopped and the safety interlock key removed from the winch driver's console and returned to the officer of the watch. The brake is applied to prevent any further movement.
The rope tail is then cast outboard and the winch is veered until all the rope tail is streamed. The array is about to leave the winch. The layering jaws are then lined up to ensure a good lead for the array leaving the drum. The winch is stopped and the PSD reports rope tail streamed, permission to deploy the array. When approval is obtained from the officer of the watch, the PSD ensures the rollers are set to wide, the clutch is to hose or array, and the handbrake is fully off. When satisfied, he signals the winch driver to veer. Two members of the crew assist the array off the winch and through the fair lead. It is most important to keep the array off the deck at all times. The maintainer checks the modules as the array is being streamed and, if necessary, stops the streaming for a more detailed inspection. The section of the array which is connected to the cable is coloured green, and as this section leaves the drum, the PSD stops the winch and reports to the officer of the watch, array streamed, permission to deploy cable. Whilst awaiting permission, he orders the rollers to be set to narrow, clutch to cable, and the winch driver to zeroize his revolutions counter on the control panel. Once the array breaks the surface, the bridge is informed. When the bend restrictor reaches the fair lead, the winch is stopped and the rollers are set to wide. This is the most important part of the recovery drill. Failure to do this will result in severe damage to the array. The clutch lever is set to hose array. The PSD then reports cable recovered, permission to recover the array. Once permission has been received, the recovery of the array continues with the maintainer inspecting the section joints as required. As the final section of the array comes inboard, the recovery team supports it onto the drum to prevent it touching the deck. Once all the array is inboard, the winch is stopped, the officer of the watch informed, and permission sought to recover the rope tail. Once the rope tail is inboard, the PSD stops the winch and reports array recovered.